Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Teaching with Inquiry, or maybe we should rename this Teaching Digitally, because that's what we're going to be spending our time talking about for at least the next couple of weeks, for as long as we are going to be teaching remotely wherever you are. Today I decided it was a good day to put on makeup, so why not? It's been a couple of weeks since that's happened, so thanks for giving me a reason to put some makeup on my face. Why not? So, anyways, let's talk going digital. So there's been a lot of chatter online about going digital, and often that seems synonymous with going Google. And there is sometimes, if you're not familiar with the Google platform, or perhaps you have students who have never used the Google platform, sometimes this can be overwhelming. And I've even heard that there's some school boards that are completely forbidding any use of Google products for privacy reasons. So I wanted to talk about alternate ways that you could still make what you currently have in the format that you have it, how you can still transition to going digital using some alternative tools that perhaps are not going to be Google. So we're going to cover using things like Explain Everything, GoodNotes. So we're going to go over how you can make what you currently have a little bit more digital so that you're not feeling like you need to reinvent the wheel completely with everything that you have and are trying to get into a digital format so that you can teach your students. So no matter what format that you can give your students their work, there are going to be ways that they can use it. So most of us are going to have a lot of our files in a PDF format or even in a Word document. Using a PDF format is pretty universal. So even if you have something in a Word document, exporting it as a PDF and then sending the PDF to your students is going to be a far easier for them to be able to manipulate and use in other apps and devices. Using a tool such as an iPad or a tablet, allowing you to do screenshots or even other apps that I'm just going to walk you through in a second, will allow you to be able to write right on top of the PDF. So let's say you've compiled everything that you've made and you have a PDF of a page that you want them to be using. And you're just going to send them the PDF copy. Instead of converting everything into Google Slides, you just want to send parents the PDF. And parents can choose to print that PDF or they can choose to use that PDF digitally. So PDFs are still digital tools and you can use them as such using a variety of different apps. So there's a few apps that I want to show you how you can use these to work with the PDFs that you have so you don't have to convert everything to a digital file. And it's just a matter of knowing what devices your students are using and allowing them to have a variety of ways that they can do it. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. You have just created something that you are ready to use with your class. I've created this activity packet for my at-home learning program. Now, this is going to be something that you can create, and you can create whatever you want. Now I've created this on Keynote, which is the same as PowerPoint, and this is just something that it's a program that sits on my desktop. Now, when I want to, how do I get this, the thing that I've created and my ability to use this with my students, this is something I already have ready to go. How could I get that from my computer into the hands of my students as usable? Well, number one, I could convert it all to Google Slides, but that's probably going to take me a lot of time. And if I want to just use what I have, I can convert this to a PDF far more simply and be able to share that with students. And using a few tools, they're going to be able to annotate right on top of that PDF, which means they're going to be able to write their answers on top of the PDF on whatever device they have, and then be able to return that to me with their markups so that I can mark it. So this is a week's worth of activities that students can do here on my Keynote. So the first thing I need to do is I need to export from Keynote into a PDF. Now PowerPoint will do the same thing, and even Google Slides for that matter will do the exact same thing as well. So you need to go to File and then Export to PDF. Once you have that and you've gone through all the process and saved it on your desktop, you now have a PDF that you can begin to share with your students. Now, a PDF is a portable file system that allows you to move your documents and have it easily be read on whatever end device that your students might have. So once you've exported it to PDF, your next step is, how do I get it from PDF into working with my students? Once you have a PDF, you need to have some way, some digital way that you can share that file with your students. Now, email is one. However, that's probably not going to be your most efficient way to share with students what it is you're working on. So there are three main services that you can use as essentially an online file folder where you can house the files you want to share with students. The first is going to be Google Drive, and this is something that a lot of teachers are familiar with, but Google Drive will house PDFs. So you can upload your PDFs to Google Drive and just put them in a file folder where they are saved. So once you've created the PDF on your desktop, you then will upload your PDF into your Google Drive account. Alternatively, you can also do the exact same thing with services such as OneDrive and Dropbox. Those three services are essentially file folders online where you can easily share the information that you have stored in that file folder with others in a fairly simplified and simplistic way. Now, regardless of the learning management system or tool that you're using, whether it's Google Classroom or D2L or Seesaw or any of these other services, having a digital place where you are storing your files is going to make getting that PDF into those learning management softwares so much easier. So the first thing is making that PDF, then you need to upload it to one of these storage sites, and then from there, transfer it into your learning management software. Now, if you are not using learning management, then you can alternatively take it straight from these storage houses such as Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox, and you can share the link to parents that they can access the file that you've stored on these services. They can just access that PDF by just clicking on a link in an email. Now, my personal favorite for being able to easily share links to documents is going to be Dropbox. I do find with Google Drive, sometimes the link sharing has so many finicky pieces with the permissions of who has permission, who doesn't have permission. Dropbox is a little more simple. Copy the link to the file you want to share and be able to share that link with anybody, and whoever has the link has the ability to share. So if I wanted to share this file with you, I could simply click on the file, click share, and it's going to give me a few options, but it'll say create link. Once that link is created, it's now on my clipboard and I can attach it into an email, into Google Classroom, in D2L, or I can also attach that straight into an email if that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to show you is Explain Everything. Now, this is the free version of Explain Everything, and there are some limitations. One of the limitations that you're only limited to 3 projects. That's okay. Once you are done a project, you can export it and save it in your Google Drive and then just recreate new projects here. So as long as you only have a maximum of 3 at any one time in the free version, you should be good to use this. One of the reasons I really like Explain Everything is because it allows you to record live what you're drawing, and then you can export that as a movie file that can be shared with students very simply through whatever platform you're using. So to get started, you're going to click New. I've already started one, so I'm going to click the whiteboard here. Now this is just like a digital whiteboard. Right on the whiteboard, you can also add different files. So using Explain Everything allows you to have a whiteboard, and it allows you to write. So if there's anything that you want to display to students and record your voice, and maybe you don't want to record your face, then Explain Everything would be great. Now, this is also another good tool if you want students to import, say, a file or a picture. So if they have a worksheet that you want them to do, grab it from my photos. And now on my page, I have the page that I want my students to fill out. So once they have that, they can simply use either the text tool, and they can create a text box, write and Explain Everything and type their answer. Or you can also use a stylus and they can simply just write their answer. And so now I have their answer. They can write it, they can type it. And this is just simply a picture of the page that I needed them to use. Now, if they want to export this in order to be able to share it back with me, so you can click this button here and it will allow you to export, and then you want to export it not as a project, but you want to export it as a document or an image or even a video if you want to see them actually writing and explaining what they did. But you want to export it as a document, and then through their devices you can say export it right to Classroom. You can email it to somebody, you can airdrop it, you can send it as an email. So if you want to send it back to you as an email, you decide how you're going to get them to send it. If you want to send it up to your Google Drive, your OneDrive, any of these are going to be options. You can open it in another thing, save it to Dropbox. It depends on what your students are using and what format they want to share it to. So if you are not, say, using Google Drive and you would like them to email it to you, then you can just have them mail it and they can put in your email and they can mail you the example of what it is that they did. So you can email them this and then they can send it to you. So that's one way that you can use Explain Everything for both, not only just for you as a teacher, but how students can do it as well. Now, GoodNote is a paid app on the App Store, and there are other free annotating PDF software pieces, but this is how you can get your students to annotate a PDF. So if they're using a device such as an iPad, then GoodNotes is going to be a tool that they can use. So they can download GoodNotes, or even Notability is another one that will work just the same. So GoodNotes or Notability are going to be tools that students can use to annotate PDFs. So you give them the PDF of the pages you want them to do, and then they on their end can use tools such as Notability or GoodNote in order to edit and change that PDF. Okay, so let's say that you want to get them a PDF. You can either choose to use Google Drive, OneDrive, or even Dropbox as your file storage system that you're going to share with students. So let's say that you want them to be able to get a file out of Dropbox. So this is the PDF file that I want them, this is my Dropbox, and this is the PDF file that I want them to open up into their GoodNotes. So they're going to click the three dots and click Export. Now, export will give you a bunch of choices as to how you're going to export this. You're going to click Open In, and Open In will give you some choices of what platforms you can open this PDF in on this device. From here, you're going to get them to open it up as GoodNotes. Now, this is something that wasn't here originally. I have been able to edit the actions and add that option in there. So I will open in GoodNotes. Now, the PDF version is going to be prepared to be opened in GoodNotes, and that's fine. So once it's opened, it'll be imported as a new document, import as a new document. And now I have my PDF document open, and it's all of the pages that I have given to the students in their PDF. So it's everything they need for the week right in that PDF document that they can work with here in GoodNotes. So they have their lesson plan, and then they have their posters that I want them to work with, and then they have a story. Now, if I've asked them to highlight parts of the story, they can right here in GoodNotes. They can select that and they can answer and write in. And that's why this is called an annotation of a PDF. It's because really what's happening is the PDF now is in the background and I can write right on top of it. And when I export it out of GoodNotes to send it back to my teacher, then I am able to save all of my annotations on top. So once you have this here, now this is a page that I want them to complete. I'm going to go back to this Making Connections page. On GoodNotes, I have the option here of selecting a text box and typing my answer. I also have the options of writing my answer. And how do they get it back to you? They're going to go back to the home page here and select the PDF that they want to do something with. And there's a little arrow and they're going to click that little arrow. Now they want to export all of it as a PDF because a PDF is there. So it says flattened, which means the PDF is going to flatten all of those annotations on top of the original PDF. So it becomes all one. So you're going to flatten as a PDF and click export. It'll export the document. And now you have the ability to transfer that back into whatever file sharing service. So if you want to copy it back into Classroom, you can add more. So if there's another way that you copy it to Drive, copy it to Dropbox, all of these, copy it to Office. So all of these are going to be ways that your student can take it from GoodNotes and export it back to the file sharing service with you without needing to print that PDF. So they can write right on top of it without needing to print to it. So let's say I want to copy back to my Dropbox. Once I have it, I might want to change it so it says it's my name. What are we on? Week 5? Okay. And we're going to click save. And it is then going to save my file right there in my Dropbox, which means that if you and your student share that, whatever file saving tool you're using, whether it's Dropbox, OneDrive, or Office, or Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive with Microsoft, then all of this can they can download it from that file, they can edit it, then they can share it back with you, and you have access to their information. And there it is. So you can open it up, and as I scroll through it as a teacher, I notice that there are those highlights that they were using, as well as their edits are right there in this new PDF that they've created. So one of the reasons that a PDF is going to work really well for this type of application is because it is easily communicated between different devices. So you can use, say, Microsoft understands, if you're on a PC, it understands PDF language. If you are on an iPad, it understands the PDF language. It's a fairly universal document system that allows you to be able to transfer it between different products made by different developers. So you can still use a PDF without having to convert everything into, say, a Google Doc or Google Slide where it's interactive. If depending on the devices that your students might have will mean that they can still annotate on top of a PDF. Now, one of the less tech ways is if a student just has the PDF, or they're able to print it, or they can look at it, then they can recreate that picture. So if you've given them an organizer, they can recreate that organizer right on a piece of paper, and they can simply just take a picture of what they have done and send it back to you. As long as your process is consistent and you can walk students through the steps of how they can get that information to you, or at least help the parents get that information to you, then there's multiple ways that you can use different tools to still be teaching digitally, without always relying on, say, Google Docs or Google Slides as being your only method of communicating information to parents. Now, another tool that you can use is going to be extensions on your Chrome browser. Now, Kami is a PDF annotation extension that you can use if you're working on a laptop or a computer. So if your students are working on a laptop or computer, it is highly recommended that they're using Google Chrome as their browser, just because it works so well with a lot of extensions. So you're going to direct your browser to Kami extension, and you're going to add to Chrome and follow the prompts that are there on the extension to install it. So let's assume for a minute that one of the ways you're sharing files, if you're not using Google Drive, perhaps you're using Dropbox or OneDrive. So if you're using one of those file sharing services to host the information you're sharing out to students, so once you have Kami downloaded here on your web browser, you're going to notice it up here on the top right-hand corner in your toolbar. You're going to select that and then begin to make an account with Kami using, if you're using Google, then you might want to continue to sign in with Google. And if you are not using Google, then sign in with an email and password. Once you enter your email and password, Kami is going to ask you to identify your role and who you are. I've selected K-12 school, and then picking my role as teacher and selecting my school name. So once I've provided all the necessary sign-up information, now it's time to open this from my computer. So if you have Google Drive set up, if that's your file sharing system, then students can open up their Google Drive, or you can just open it up straight from their computer. So if you want to open it up from their computer, You can select the information that you want to use. You can select the PDF. So this is just a recent file. So I can select where my file is located that I've saved with students. So wherever they happen to have saved that file that you sent them on their desktop, they can open it up, and you'll notice that Cami will open up the PDF here and students will be able to edit. Now, much like the Good Notes or Explain Everything or even Cami here, you'll notice that, again, this is an annotation software, so students can have a variety of ways that they can annotate what they have. So they can add text boxes or they can draw right on the screen if they need to. Probably text boxes are going to be the best way that students are going to interact with this resource. So this is another one where students had to do nonfiction text features. So they can simply add a text box and type their answer in. Now notice that it's gone a little bit over, so students can always resize their text box. They can enter in their answers and add new text boxes right on top of the PDF. Now this is not quite saved yet, so when they are ready and they are finished their work for the week, so they finish all the activities in that PDF, you can export the information. So they can click save up here. There's the save option, the print option, as well as open file. They can also download it once they're done. So let's click save, and they can upload it straight into their Google Drive, or they can download it to their desktop and then be able to share that right in. So I've got Dropbox saved right onto my desktop. So it's exporting the annotations of the document to the PDF. So that's called flattening. So they're flattening my annotations on top of that PDF. Once it is done and it's 100%, then it's going to prompt me to save that on my computer, and I can save it right in my Dropbox folders, which are housed on my desktop. So it'll allow me to choose what file folder. So this is a shared Dropbox, so I can go to my Dropbox and I can save it right into any one of these file folders that are in my Dropbox. So here's the thing, most of us are teaching digitally, and one of that means is we have to somehow get the materials that we have or that we create for this purpose, and we need to get them to our students in the most convenient way possible. So using what you have, what you've already created, instead of recreating materials that you have. So you've got information in PDFs. If you can get that information to share it with students, there are things your students can do in order to be able to work with that PDF and then submit it back to you. So if you have their assignments all in one creation, all in one PDF for the week, and they just have to upload it onto their device through Cami, they can use that simply just as a workbook that they work through each and every week. So they don't have to keep checking in on Classroom. They don't have to keep checking in for emails. You don't have to continually email them. You simply send your parents a PDF of what it is that students are supposed to do for the week. And once they have it, they can choose based on what devices they have at home. They can choose to just open it up in those devices, right on top of the paper, like they are using paper. They could simply print the paper and use it as a traditional workbook, or they can use their desktop. So you don't necessarily have to take everything that you currently have and make it into a Google Slide format. PDFs are going to be just as versatile when you follow a few steps to get them into whatever device you're using and then get them out of whatever device you're using. So I hope this video was helpful for you tonight to learn how we can still use all of those PDFs that we use each and every day in our classrooms for our remote learning needs. That a PDF is still a viable tool to be using in this remote learning environment with a little bit of assistance from some third-party apps and extensions that we can use to make those PDFs more editable and useful for our students' remote learning. Now, in tonight's video, I was showing you a few of the PDFs from my new program, the At Home Learning. At Home Learning is a program for parents that is designed with weekly PDFs that are provided to parents each and every week that covers all aspects of the Canadian curriculum from K to 8. Now, these programs are designed for parents, however, teachers are using them too. And I've been hearing a lot of teachers saying, oh, you know, this is just a solution that is ready to go for my students. that I can simply just give the students these packages and they are covering curriculum and getting work done, and it's meeting the expectations. And then I can spend my time supporting students instead of spending all of my time planning digital resources. So if you would like to learn more about the at-home learning program from K to 8, you can follow us on social media at athomelearning.k8 on Instagram and Facebook, or you can also learn more on our website at www.athomelearning.ca. Thank you so much for joining me, and stay tuned for every Monday night from now and for as long as this remote learning lasts. I'm going to be putting out videos every Monday night at 9 p.m. talking about using digital tools. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me at Madly Learning on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or anywhere else that you might find Madly Learning. So thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you next week as we continue to support you on your digital remote learning journey. Bye for now.